Hi there, it's Tiffany with Ready Set Crop, getting ready to do a live process video on this cold, snowy Thursday night. I hope you're having a good week. I was feeling ambitious today and felt like when I got home, I wanted to craft. I was seeing posts of people staying home and crafting all day, and I was working, and I thought, oh, I can't stay home and craft. So I thought, well, I will come home and I will craft tonight. So had dinner with my daughter, and now I'm going to do a quick layout. So thanks for joining me. As always, my videos are available to watch anytime after the live, so I always record it and leave the post up in the video section so you can watch all the ones all the way back to March 2020 when I first started doing this. Let me show you what I'm working on and I'll get started. Oh, so this is what I am copying. I made this layout over the weekend. We had our Winter Wonderland event last weekend, and I managed to get one layout done, which is a lot when you're running an event. I had a little pocket of time and I was able to craft. Hi Gail, thanks for joining me. So I made this layout of Eliza and I had a fun weekend last summer, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a live and I'm going to show you this technique because it's a really fun way to incorporate lots of different pattern papers, and it's pretty easy to do. So this was actually only 2 pieces of pattern paper that are double-sided, and then just a piece of cardstock behind it, and then a couple of stickers. So I really didn't use a lot of paper to make this layout, but it's really fun and vibrant. Oh, and some scrap of yellow to map my photos and do my journaling. Hey, Michelle. Yeah, it's a cool layout. So I'm going to show you how to do this technique tonight with my New Year's Eve photos because I have to do those too. And this was August. New Year's Eve isn't until January or December, depending on where you like to put it in your album. So they'll be spread out enough that these 2 techniques won't, won't be right next to each other or anything in the album. So I have 4 photos of New Year's Eve. I went to the local tavern that is literally called The Tavern on Central, and my friend's band was playing, and then a friend of mine from high school joined me, and we had dinner and drinks and listened to the music. So I have pictures of my friend in the band, picture of me beforehand with my noisemaker, and then a picture of me and my friend Tom. And then the bar had 2023 balloons. Now the picture I took was not good because I was in a different spot and it was busy and there's people in the background. So I went onto their website and they had this picture posted in their event. So I grabbed that and that's what I'm going to use. Let me get started on the technique. I'm going to be using the Shades of Silver paper. I haven't used this yet, so I'm excited to dig into it, and perfect for New Year's Eve celebrating, or if you have any birthdays or anything. It's all double-sided, so this has like white with some silver dots, and then it's got this black with some gold design. This one's got the black and gray, and then a gray and white stripe, or silver and white stripe. There's this gold pattern, and then this black. So there's lots of different options. I need to choose 2 patterns that I like together, and I think I'm not going to go with like too much of the gold. Just want like a hint of it. So I like this one because that's kind of subtle. I like that one. I don't want this like too much of that yellow. So I'm going to skip those. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to skip this one for now, for this layout. I might do this one because it's got this on the other side. So I just want to look and see how all those go together. Yep, I like that combo, so that's what I'm going to go with. So I've got 2 pieces of pattern paper. I'm going to set the rest of this aside. Try to set it aside nicely because otherwise I have a huge mess when I'm done crafting. I also have the silver and gold border stickers that I may use. I have the embellishments, and I have a set of the gold script letters. I may use them, I may not. Just grabbed them just in case. And then I want to build my layout on cardstock. And I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do gray or white. I'm thinking since these are so dark, I think I'm going to do the white. I think that'll be a nice contrast, and then I may matte my photos in the charcoal. So I'm going to set my cardstock aside for now, and I'm going to start with the cutting. Hey Angel, thanks for joining me. So really easy, just kind of labor intensive. I'm going to be cutting at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to slide this down. And I'm going to cut down at 3/4 of an inch, but I'm going to stop before I get to the end. I'm going to stop at 3/4 of an inch-ish. And then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to cut it at 3/4 of an inch, matching up with my other cut that I made down here, so that I have this L shape. And I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to do the same exact thing again. Just have to do some math. And so each time you're going to turn it, flip it over so that you get that same location. So I'm just going to move this, and I'm cutting a 3/4 inch L each time. So now I have another L, set that aside. 2 more times. You could do a 1/2 inch, you could mix up your sizes. The example I did the other day, they were all 3/4, except for one when I just measured wrong. I didn't intend to do that, but that's what happened. So I had one that was a little off, but it really didn't matter. There's my 3rd, and now I'm gonna do my 4th. Oops, one more notch. Hi Renee, thanks for joining me. So I'm going to flip this one, and you can see my square is getting smaller and smaller each time I use it. And one more notch. If doing this math, it's not hard math, but if doing that isn't fun to you, do a 1/2 inch, because that's easier to adjust for on your cutter, on your trimmer. So, okay, I'm going to do the same exact thing. Like I said, it's not difficult, but it just is kind of labor intensive. Moved it down to cut a 3/4 inch, flipping it over and around, and doing the same thing. Now this time, I'm taking these L's, and just so I don't confuse myself, I'm putting them over to the right. The first pile I put over to the left. Now I'm moving these over to the right, just so that I keep them separate. And I'm going to cut 3 more of these. And it definitely gets easier the more you do it, but harder when you're talking. So you do have to concentrate a little bit. And I am not being very precise at the corner here, just because I'm doing this quickly for you guys. So if I was doing this for real, I would be a little bit more precise with my measurement down at the bottom here. I have 3, I need to do 1 more. One more L. Okay, I'm going to set both of these squares aside. We will be using those in the layout. And now I'm going to pull the white cardstock out so we can start building. Now, somewhere I had my repositionable tape, and then I did something with it. You know, you make piles. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm using repositionable tape because what if I don't line this up right and I need to move things around? Repositionable is going to give you a little bit of wiggle room, which you want, or wiggle time really. I'm going to start with the two biggest L's that I have. And I'm only putting adhesive on the point. I'm not doing it all the way down. I'm just going to put a little bit on the 2 points. This technique was on the CM blog probably a year ago, and then Megan Jacks, if you follow her, she did this technique with the silver and gold last week, and so I followed that and I just loved it. Now, Megan is very particular and she's really good about lining everything up and making it all even. I'm not. So I'm just placing this where I want to place it, because that's how I roll. And so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So if you wanted this to be really precise, you would line this up and you would get it all perfect. I'm just not worried about that because I want it to be a little bit off kilter. Although this I think is a little bit too much. So I am going to pull that up. Thankful that I used my repositionable. And I do want it to be a little bit more towards the center if I can. So I'm lining up this edge with my top corner here. And then this one's going to go a little bit off. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to take my next biggest and again just putting repo on the point. And I'm going to, you could match these up exactly. I'm not going to. I'm going to put it a little bit off kilter there. And I'm leaving like 1/8 of an inch in between. But again, I'm not measuring. If you wanted to use your 13 by 13 mat to really get those lines precise, you could. I'm just not that kind of scrapper. So my next piece I'm putting the adhesive on the dark side. Still just on the point, but I'm going to put it on the dark side. And so this one is going to tuck right in where that first piece went, about 1/8 of an inch from the first piece. And then same thing on this one. Oops, I almost did it on the wrong side. If you do it on the wrong side, that's okay. It's repo. You can easily rub it off of the paper. So now this one's going to get tucked in to that shape right there. About 1/8 of an inch. I am not measuring this, so I'm just saying about, because it's not going to be perfect. And now I'm going to start with the biggest pieces on the other side. I'm going to turn this. And because I have two darks here, I'm going to start by the light piece here, so it's not the dark up against another dark piece. So I'm going to put this one here and just fitting it right in, leaving that, eyeballing that 1/8 of an inch. Now, if you were worried about how this was going to line up and you wanted to practice, go right ahead and lay it down, lay all your pieces down and fool around with them until you get it exactly the way you want before you adhere anything down, doing like a dry fit. I've just done this before, so I know how it goes, and I'm not worried about the placement of it. So now I'm going to do the opposite. I want the dark to show here, so I'm going to put the adhesive on the gray side. Grab that and put that down there. And now I'm gonna do some trimming. So I'm gonna grab my scissors. Yeah, you know, the off-center thing, I also like because then you don't have to worry about it lining up properly. If you don't get it lined up all the way, that's okay because it's off-center. And, you know, also I'm going to be covering this up with photos, a lot of it. So it's okay to have it a little bit off. So now before I trim these, I'm just adhering down the tails so that it makes it a little bit easier to trim. They're gonna stay in place. So I'm going to flip this over so I can see the other side. And I'm just gonna eyeball it and trim by hand. And you could certainly, once you get one side trimmed, you can put this in your trimmer. You just can't do it when the whole thing is hanging off the edge like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna do that on all four sides, sticking down these tails. And I'm still using Repo here because if I need to mess with it a little bit, you never know. I want to make sure that I have that option to adjust if necessary. Now, I wish I'd taken a picture. I saved, because you know, I'm a very frugal scrapper. All of these tails I saved, and I made another layout with them. But Karen and I, at our weekends, we sell pre-made layouts. So that was one that sold. I made a really cool layout with it. So I'll try and make one with all these tails, and then I'll post a picture of it. Because I wasn't gonna throw away all those perfectly good strips of paper. There's no way. I made a layout with them. You could use them to frame a photo, write some journaling on them, but they're good pieces of paper. All right, one more set of tails to trim here. And you can see this is coming together really easily. I think the layout looks complicated and is a little bit intimidating, but it's super easy. And if you're worried, if you're like, no, Tiffany's saying it's easy, but it is not easy, try it with papers that you don't really like. You know, that way if they mess up, it's not a big deal. Try it with those ugly papers that you have from some paper stack that's been hanging around for a while. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab these papers again. And I should have my ruler, and I don't know where it is. So, as I always do, we're gonna be eyeballing again. This paper goes in this section, but I'm actually gonna put it over here, I think. And I think I'm gonna do that piece. Yeah, I like that. This one, that means this one will go over here. Yep, I think that looks nice. So we're gonna fill in these. You could keep going and do more L's and go all the way down if you wanted to. But I am going to just do squares here. So I need to cut a square that is about that big. If I had my ruler, I would measure. But my ruler isn't here, so I don't know where my ruler is. I just cut a 5 3/4 inch piece. Making sure that fits again, yep. And so I'm gonna make it a 5 3/4 square. And then I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna line up my points right on my cutting guide. And I'm gonna cut that square in half. So I've got 2 triangles here. I'm gonna do the same thing with this piece. So I'm first just gonna eyeball how big of a square I need. So I'm gonna look at the biggest portion, which is over here. And you could just measure this length, but like I said, my ruler isn't here, so I am just making a mark with my thumb, so I know to make a square that's bigger than that line. Very technical. So I'm gonna make, oh, it's a 6 inch square. So the same thing on this one, I made a 6-inch square, and now I'm gonna line the points of that square on my cutting guide and cut that in half. Okay, so now I'm ready to adhere. And just always double check which side you're working on before you stick your adhesive down to make sure you've got the right side that you wanted to use. So I'm going to, again, make this about 1/8 of an inch. It's a little bit off. I'll have to fix that afterwards. That one's there. I got an easy fix. Should have made the square a little bit bigger, and I didn't, but not a big deal. Put that one there. Now I've got my 2 silver pieces. These are not colors, this gray and silver. I would not, the black and silver, the black and gray. These are not my usual color scheme, but I really like it. And I mean, this would go with anything. And certainly I was at a bar for New Year's Eve. It wasn't an elegant, it wasn't an elegant occasion by any means, but yeah, something about New Year's Eve. It's a nice celebratory time. So now I'm gonna flip my layout upside down to cut, just to trim those pieces off. Makes it really easy to trim that excess. Little sliver over here. All right, everybody with me still? You can definitely do this layout. So this part here, it's a little bit off. So all I'm going to do is trim a piece of paper to go underneath there. And I will do that afterwards, because I'll just add a little piece. You won't even know it. It'll be fine. All right, I'm gonna grab my photos and trim those so we can mat those and start putting the layout together. So as usual, I did 3x4s. I especially like to do 3x4s when I have multiple photos. So I have 4 photos that I want to be on this one layout, and I only do single page layouts. Every once in a while, I will do a 2-page layout, but 9 times out of 10, I'm doing a single page layout. So if I want multiple photos, I'm going to do 3x4s. I might do 4x4s. I did a 5x7 the other day, which was fun to do. So the shirt I'm wearing is a t-shirt my cousin sent me from Louisville, Kentucky. It says Glitter Ball City, and that is a nickname for Louisville because they are the home of the disco ball. That's where the disco ball was made, and that's where I guess like a large percentage of our world's disco balls, are made in Kentucky. I did not know that. Maybe you did, but maybe not, and so you learned something new today, right? Oh, thanks, Joanne. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, it comes together way simpler than you think. I just ran out of adhesive. Always do at the worst times, but what's going on with this? All right, so I'm gonna mat these on the charcoal just to have them separate, to give them some separation from the background, because the background is pretty busy. So I want to make sure that they stand out a little bit. So I'm just putting these down on cardstock, and then I will trim them and then figure out. Yeah, Joanne, I did 3/4 inch cuts, and when the video is done, you'll be able to watch the replay anytime. So you can watch it from the beginning and catch the fascinating beginning of this layout. But it's just 3/4 inch, basically L shapes that you make. So you don't cut all the way through. And really easy to put together. And you can choose to have them all meet in the middle. You can choose to do off center. You could use a bunch of different papers that you have, you know, especially if you have those ugly papers that are in your stash. This is a great way to use them because you're only seeing little pieces of them. So, you know, they don't end up being as bold and kind of gaudy as, you know, a full piece of paper. But if you're someone that is kind of skittish about matching up pattern papers, just use 2 from the same collection. They're gonna go together, they're gonna coordinate, and it's a really fun way to incorporate patterns. I kind of have to tone myself down sometimes because I incorporate patterns a little too much, but you know, it's all right, you do what makes you happy. So I have my 4 pictures here. And just kind of deciding on my arrangement. I think I'll do something like that. I like that. Maybe that. Yeah, I think that's good. That's good. I'm gonna grab a foam sheet. This is just a piece of kids foam, and it's gonna make it really easy for me to put my 4 photos down quickly. So I'm going to trim this big of a piece. That'll be good. I'm gonna peel the adhesive backing off of this. You could definitely do a 2-page layout. You could either do 2 of these, you know, next to each other, or you could do like just a portion of it, Gail, and have it kind of meeting in the middle. That would be really cool. You wouldn't have to do the whole thing as 2 pages, or, you know, try the whole thing and see how it comes out. I bet that would be really cool. So this is super sticky now that I peeled the adhesive off, so I can just kind of stick that all down, and now it's all one thing that I can move around depending on where I want it to go. I'll pull out my liquid adhesive. And I do want this to go pretty much right in the middle. I'm going to look for, well, I pulled out these stickers. They're super shiny, so they probably look really shiny on here. I got these at Dollar General, and I used them for some project last year, but I still have lots of them. And I thought this was, you know, when can you use giant gold stickers on your New Year's Eve layout, right? So I think I'm gonna do 2023 right here. I also pulled out my doilies because I don't know if I have gold doilies. I don't think I do. I have silver doilies, so I might use a silver doily. So I'm gonna pull one out in case I wanna use that. I also have the black ones, it's kind of pretty. And I'm going to dump out the embellishments, if I know where I put those. There. So I keep this little bowl around. It's just a sweet piece of pottery. I keep this around, and when I get embellishments, I will, oh, these are attached, so I don't have to dump them out. But sometimes you get the baggies, and I just dump them out, and then I can sift through them. Another thing I will do is if I pull one off of here that I use, I will cross it off on the packaging so that I know it's not there, so not to look for it. I'm just gonna see if I want to use any of these. Oh, make a toast. Yeah, that would be good. I could use a Celebrate. Life is Sweet. So there's a couple good ones there. So I think I'm gonna stick this down right here first. Yeah, give it a try, Gail. If you are able to do a 2-page layout, be sure to tag me in a picture. I'd love to see how it comes out. I think it'd be fun to do this section of it across kind of a diamond thing, that would be kind of cool. So this is a great chance, if your papers didn't line up the way you wanted them to, cover them up with your photos and your embellishments. And then it looks great no matter what. All right, so I'm going to start with the numbers because they're really big and I don't want to have them try to add them later. So I'm going to start with the numbers and I'm going to put them right here. Oops. These are just cheapo Dollar General numbers. I think they cost me $1.99 or $2.99 or something like that. I got them in gold, I have black ones. And you know, if you're doing, I got the numbers and letters. And if you're doing a really bold title, it's a lot of fun to use these big stickers. You could certainly get out your die cut machine and, you know, cut out some numbers too. But I figured for a New Year's Eve layout, I might as well make a big splash with the numbers. All right, so I love using doilies. I showed you my little bowl. I've got them in all kinds of colors. And they come in different sizes too. I like the little black ones. They're really pretty. I may add that, do the little black doily. I'm gonna cut it in half. Oops, I just ripped it. Well, I'll try this one. Doilies are very fragile. I'll tuck that one right under there. I've got another one. Oh look, I've got one that's ripped right there. Perfect. Trim that ripped piece off. I'm going to tuck that right under there. And it just gives me a little place to add a few more things. So now I'm going to see what else. I definitely want to add the Make a Toast. That one is perfect. These are really cool because they're layered. So there's like some foam tape behind there. So they're a nice 3D embellishment. I really like that. I'm going to do that right there. I'm going to grab my foam squares because the embellishment is otherwise going to kind of sink. So I'm just going to put a foam square behind the corner there so it sits up. And let's see what else. I think I'll just do these leaves. And maybe the heart. That'll be good. That's good, and then it kind of covers that guy's head. Yeah, I like that. I'm just gonna tuck this behind here. Oops. Just to add a little bit of gold. That's all that these are for, just to kind of get that color on there. And then I think after my live is done, I will add my journaling. And I have plenty of this gray paper left, so I might just do a couple of strips right there for my journaling. And let me see if I have gold splatter. No, I don't. Oh dear. Well, this definitely is going to need gold splatter, so I'm going to have to look for that because I can't not do splatter on this layout. Hold on, let me look. Maybe it's over here. I don't know. Sorry, I don't see it. This is what happens when you don't scrapbook for a while. I don't know what's going on in my craft room. It's half like Christmas things that haven't been dealt with, you know. So I'm gonna have to look for those. See if I have any gold jewels. That would be nice. Don't see those either. Where my jewels are. Oh, here somewhere. Oh, some stars. I'll add a few black stars. That'll be nice. I'll add that. That'll take the place of my splatters. I know, Michelle. It definitely needs gold splatter. I'm going to have to look for it. It's around here somewhere. When I find it, I will add the gold splatter. For now, I'm just going to add a few stars. These are really cute. These are from Stampin' Up. Teeny tiny little stars. Just gonna do 3 little clusters of them. Oops. Okay. So I think that's it for now. That was a really easy layout to put together, but I love all the different patterns. It's really fun. So give it a try. Pull out a collection and try this technique. If you do the 2-page layout, make sure to tag me. I'd love to see how your layouts come out if you try this. And I will definitely be back. I think maybe Sunday night I might do another live because I don't have anything going on Sunday, so that might be a good time for me to get back to the craft room. I will look for that gold splatter and it will be added to this layout for sure. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Bye, everybody.